In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a wire form to press into an impression die. Here I have 10 gauge sterling silver wire that I am bending with round nose pliers to form into the shape that's going to fit into the impression die. After I've got the rough shape that I need, I'm going to just cut the excess wire away and then trim it down as needed. So I'm just using my jeweler's saw here, cutting the excess off. Then I'll measure it up against my impression die, which is a bezel shape, and see how much more I need to remove. It looks like I'm pretty close, but I'm going to remove just a few millimeters from one end. So again, I'm just doing that with my jeweler's saw. And now I'm ready to bring those ends together for soldering. So here I'm using a nylon mallet and just tapping the ends down so that they can come together evenly and make a nice fit for soldering. I'm not worried about it being the perfect shape at this time. I'm just worried about bringing the ends together so that I can get the form soldered, and then I can continue to shape it afterward. Once I've gotten it most of the way with the hammer, I'm going to just use a plier to even everything out and make sure that the two sides are perfectly aligned. And then I'm ready to solder. So I've fluxed my seam here and I have a couple of solder chips ready to go. I'm using hard solder. And I'm going to just really evenly heat this piece. And then add my little solder chips to my seam. And I'm just using 2 small pieces here. I'll have a little more solder than I need, but I can file off the excess. And I just want to make sure I get a nice strong join. Heat until the solder flows, and then I'm going to pickle and clean it. And so this is fresh out of the pickle, and I'm ready to get the final shape. So I need to kind of widen it out a bit. Make the oval not so long and a little bit wider. So I'm just going to use the nylon mallet again to kind of tap this down, force those edges out a bit to kind of open that oval up. And that'll adjust the shape a little bit. You could also do this on a mandrel if you've got one in the right shape. So that looks pretty good. It's a little funky. Not quite perfect. So I'm going to tap it a little bit more. Kind of just hitting down the high spots and trying to get it to conform to that shape that the impression die is in. Trying to even out the oval. And it's going to spread in the hydraulic press, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be pretty close. And then I just need to remove the excess solder before I press it in the hydraulic press. So I can do that with a file and with a flex shaft silicone wheel. And that's just so that I'm not pressing and spreading the solder into the design when I'm using this in the hydraulic press. So once the solder's cleaned up, I'm ready to press my little wire form into the impression die. I'm using a hydraulic press and our tool steel pusher, and then just pressing the metal into the die. And this is going to press solid. So I'm pressing, gently rotating. Sorry, my hand was in the way there. And then pressing again, making sure it presses evenly throughout the die. And then I'll be able to pull this out and we'll see how it looks. So this is after pressing into the bezel impression die. It looks great, and now all I have to do is trim off the excess metal and figure out how to use it in my jewelry. And that's it.